Mr. Alexander, followed by Pascal. Then the Honorable Joseph Isaac and PM will offer some brief comments. I now ask Mr. Pascal to give us an update on the weather system. Alexander, sorry.
Good morning to all. Protocol has already been established. Now, at 11 p.m. last night, a tropical storm watch was issued for Dominica due to the formation of Tropical Storm Dorian. A tropical storm watch means that tropical storm conditions are possible within the watch area, generally within 48 hours. At 8 a.m. this morning, the center of Tropical Storm Dorian was located in the latitude 12.0 degrees north, 57.0 degrees west, or about 367 miles or 591 kilometers southeast of Dominica. The system is moving towards the west, near 14 miles per hour, and a turn towards the west-northwest can be expected later today. The maximum sustained winds are near 60 miles per hour with higher gusts. Maximum sustained winds extend 45 miles or 75 kilometers from the center of the system. Rainfall expectation is 2 to 4 inches with higher amounts in elevated areas. The leading edge of the system is expected to begin affecting the island by tonight. Gust to tropical storm force is possible across Dominica. Rough seas up to 10 feet can also be expected, and as a result, a small craft warning will be in effect for Dominica as of 6 p.m. today. The center of Dorian is expected to pass about 90 miles south of Dominica based on the projected path. This means that Dominica will be near the northern quadrant of that system where activity is usually at its peak. The public is therefore advised to make the necessary preparations for activity from Tropical Storm Dorian, expected to begin late tonight and continue into tomorrow. The next advisory will be at 11 a.m.
Thank you. We'll now have Mr. Pascal to give us some information on actions to be taken.
Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Minister for Disaster Management, Secretary to the Cabinet, Mr. Alexander, the Acting Senior Met Officer, the media, listeners and viewers, good morning to all. Just to reiterate, as the Met Office has informed, Tropical Storm Dorian is expected to move across the Windward Islands later tonight into tomorrow, Tuesday, with the center passing to the south of Dominica. A tropical storm watch is in effect for Dominica. This means that tropical storm conditions are possible. In light of this, the ODM continues to advise the public to be prepared for possible threats and hazards that could be triggered by Dorian. Flash flooding due to heavy rainfall. Persons living in waterways must be extremely vigilant and move to secure locations if they feel threatened by rising water levels. Landslides, gusty winds up to tropical storm force at times. First, flying debris, down power lines, etc. may be an issue. Choppy or rough seas. Mariners should keep updated and secure crafts, as increased wave action may be realized as the system moves into the Caribbean Sea, so mariners from the south to the west coast must pay particular attention to this. Residents should be mindful of these possible impacts and take all necessary precautions and actions. Long before the start of the season, persons must have been mindful of their checklists. One, for example, basic supplies like drinking water, non-perishable foods, flashlights, portable battery and powered lanterns, battery-operated radios, extra batteries for all battery-operated items, first aid kits including medicine, antibiotic creams, and cash. Important documents to have on hand, a list of all your important contacts, family, doctor, insurance agents, a photo inventory of all your personal belongings, waterproof containers to keep the documents in. And as part of preparedness activities, You should know your emergency shelters, have disaster supplies on hand. For example, what was mentioned earlier in basic supplies. Protect your windows, trim branches from trees, check your home and auto insurance, confirm that policies are valid and coverage is appropriate. Make arrangements for pets and livestock, and develop an emergency communication plan. Make sure that all family members know what to do in the event of a system. And for during a watch is issued when there is a threat of conditions within 24 to 48 hours. So you must listen to your radio or television for progress on the system. Check your emergency supplies, fuel, cars and generators, bring in outdoor objects because of flying debris, secure your building, remove outside antennas and satellite dishes, turn your refrigerator and fridges to the coldest setting, and store drinking water in clean jugs, bottles, and cooking utensils. The takeaway message from this: the public should remain vigilant and be prepared to take any necessary actions to protect life and property should the need arise. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Pascal. I now invite Honorable Joseph Isaac to make a few comments.
A special good morning to everyone listening to me via this medium. I want to especially recognize our Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Roosevelt Skerrit, our senior officers of the ODM and the Met Office, Mr. Pascal and Mr. Alexander. I would like to inform the public that this is the first public update of many to be held. I'm therefore asking that we should all remain calm but vigilant. I'd like to also inform the general public that the National Emergency and Planning Organization, NEPO, have met several times. So today is not a panic response, but it will be an ongoing response to the issue of disaster management and planning. As we seek to strengthen and improve all organs and the disaster management planning systems in Dominica, we are asking all communities and citizens to remain focused and to heighten alertness at the household level, village level, and the general community level. We should seek to protect our loved ones, especially the vulnerable ones, and to again protect all personal and business assets. The Ministry of Disaster Management remains resolute in its effort and its quest to ensure that as we go throughout the hurricane season, we continuously improve all systems. So I'm appealing to everyone, whether in the private sector or in the household level and the village council level, parliamentary representatives and religious organizations. I'm asking everyone to spread the word across Dominica that we should be vigilant in this hurricane season, not just for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. I now invite Honorable Prime Minister to address the press briefing.
Thank you, Sec. Let me, of course, greet all the residents and citizens of our country on this Monday morning, and also to recognize the presence of the Honorable Joseph Isaac, Minister responsible for disaster management, Mr. Pascal, head of the Office of Disaster Management, and Mr. Alexander, the Senior Met Officer, plus the media present. I wish to urge all our citizens and residents to take heed of all of the advisories and guidance provided to us by the Office of Disaster Management, the National Emergency Planning Organization, and of course the Met Office. And as always, we all have access to all mediums of information on the internet, which is fine, but always pay particular heed to that which comes from the ODM, because this is the official source of information for the citizens of Dominica. I also want to say to us that we must not become complacent and then watch the mountains and say, well, there's no rain coming, or watch the sea, there's no rain coming. And that we are seeing bright sunshine outside. We must not be complacent, as recent history would remind us of the importance of us taking heed of all advisories and guidance. And therefore, as indicated by my colleague minister, that at a family level, we need to ensure that we take the actions which we need to take, and the ODM has indicated to us some of the actions which we can take in preparing ourselves for any eventualities. And of course, at the community level as well. Because while the National Emergency Planning Organization has the overall responsibility and mandate to prepare and to plan the country for any natural disaster, it is very important also that we recognize that the planning at this national level would be in futility if we as individuals, as households, as communities, as businesses do not do our own preparations. With heavy rains, we would certainly anticipate or expect landslides, mudslides, and flooding in some parts of the country. And there are some parts of the country that are more susceptible to these occurrences than others. And therefore, we have at the cabinet meeting and the joint cabinet meeting with the National Emergency Planning Organization executive arm, we have mandated the Ministry of Health to do an inventory and an audit of every health center in Dominica to ensure that they have adequate basic pharmaceutical medicines at hand, especially in highly vulnerable communities, which are usually cut off from the rest of the country as a result of landslides. So I speak, for example, of communities like Campbell. I speak of communities in Bells and Petit Soufre, Saint-Sauveur, Delis, Bacatel and Fonseja and Fab, the communities in particular, among others, we need to pay particular attention to where landslides and mudslides are concerned. Also, those of us who reside along riverbanks, we need to take particular caution. If the likelihood of rain, you may have a challenge, and therefore you have to be mindful of your environment. We have also placed the police on alert and to ensure that they are able to respond to any requests for rescuing people or getting people out of harm's way, that the police is prepared for this. And the Ministry of Public Works has also been mandated, as is customary, to ensure that heavy equipment are placed and located in strategic points, so that, again, for any eventualities, landslides, roads need to be cleared, fallen trees need to be cleared, that we have equipment already stationed in those communities, and therefore causing access to those communities could be done much quicker. We will have another press briefing at 5:30 this afternoon, where we expect the Ministry of Health, the police, the Ministry of Public Works, and the WASCO to give an update on the actions which they have taken and the cooperation and understanding which they will require from the general public. I would suggest to us that we may want to fill our utensils at home with water, because we would expect at some point, and of course we'll be advised by DOASCO at 5:30 this afternoon, at some point, that the water system will be shut off in order to preserve and protect the stored water from turbidity and getting impacted, and we have no use for it. So at some point, DOASCO will advise us when would the water system be shut off to ensure that we would have drinking water for citizens. So it's important for us to fill our utensils or empty containers so that we have adequate water stored for drinking and cooking purposes. Again, we just want to reiterate there is no need for any one of us to be in any panic mode. There is no need for any one of us to be over anxious, and there is no need for us to shut down the country. So there'll be no shutting down of the country. We'll continue our daily duties, and as the hours go by and the advisories come in the set schedule, I believe the next one is at 2 o'clock, or 11 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and we shall rely on the 5 o'clock to give you further updates so far. So look around your surroundings, make sure that the potential hazards are eliminated or eradicated, that you collect water. Again, there's no need to panic. If you know a senior citizen in your community who needs water collected, please help. Let us reach out to each other in this time of preparation. And we shall continue to pray for ourselves as we also pray for our brothers and sisters in the southern part of the Caribbean. So this is it for us for this morning. So let us take the precautionary measures, as we know. Let us not take anything for granted. Let us not be complacent. I do not have to refresh our memories in respect to these disasters that have caused immense untold damage and destruction to our country. And this is the season we're living in, and even outside of the season, we have those experiences and occurrences, as we saw in 2013 with the Christmas Eve trough. So those of us who live in next to rivers and so forth, be particularly mindful of ravines, be particularly mindful of the need for us to take precautionary measures. So again, work shall continue as was the case on Friday past. So let us continue to be watchful, and please listen to the 5:30 update, and by then whatever additional information or new information we shall transmit to the general public. Thank you very much, and may God bless you. Do we have questions?
Yes.
Yeah.
The Prime Minister, would you say, based on the Hurricane Maria experience, that in 2019, Dominica is in a better position to deal and respond to weather systems of that nature?
I think a simple response to your question would be yes, an emphatic yes. Not only at the National Emergency Planning Organization level, but I believe that there is a greater awareness on the part of the general public in terms of one, taking these advisories and these precautionary measures seriously, and also the extent of their own household preparation and preparedness for these storms. So there is a greater awareness on the part of the general public on this. So from a number of vantage points, I believe that we're in a better place now than we were after Maria. Obviously, one has to understand that Maria was the mother of all hurricanes, and whatever plans you would have had in place, Maria would have been able to to go right through them, because your shelters got affected, all the roads were completely cut off from each other. You couldn't get from one street to the other because of debris, etc., etc. But I believe that there's a greater awareness, and I thank God for that. Okay, yeah, that's it. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you.